So I just, team prayed about it, and uh, Lord just continued to, be with me through the struggles, and qualifying, and um actually became a decent shooter now. But yeah, the Lord just, just makes things happen. And about the morale with, well, we didn't have phone calls, we had to write letters. So when you got your letters back, that's definitely a morale booster from family, or you know just being able to read those letters is definitely uh boosts morale so much. Like if you didn't get a letter in the mail, it's like a Debbie Downer, because that right there will lift your spirits up so much. And I thank God that I had parents to write to, and other people to write to as well. And thank them for writing back, just giving me words of encouragement, and they helped me through that through that process as well.
I would say a verse that helped me was Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord, plans not to harm you, but plans to give you future and a hope. The reason why that verse helped me was because I did have a very difficult start when it came to joining the military. Because of what I was going through before I walked into the recruiter's office, my ASVAB scores were not the best. I had medical stuff going on. I truly did not think that I was going to make it. But as I said before, I did. And my journey in the military it's had its ups and downs. I joined the military when I was 21. I don't regret joining the military at all. The only thing that I would do different is join it sooner, join it at 18 years old, because I believe that had I done that then, I truly believe that there were certain choices that I would have made better, if that makes sense. However, God has a plan and everything works out for God's greater good. Because of me joining at 21, I came in with experience. I met him when I was in Germany. And I don't know if it would have worked out that way had I joined at 18. Also, by the grace of God, I have been able to promote at a good rate. Like next week, I'm supposed to find out if I make E7. So I don't know if I'm gonna make it. It's my first time going up. I've been in for 9 years, but I pray that is in the Lord's, plans for me. But me being the controlling person that I am, those type of situations do scare me because there are other things that I fear. However, while it's difficult, I do still have to trust God in everything that I do. Um, but I will say, if you do join the military, there are times you're going to be away from your family and your friends. It is what it is. There are events you're going to miss. Like I missed when my sister graduated high school, but they sent me letters and I did get a picture. I did get a picture of her high school picture. Um, but it has to be with another understanding because, like Elder Taylor said, you can't. You do have to be strong. You have to be, but you also have to come in with the understanding that the reason why you can't talk to your family as much is because unfortunately all those are distractions. When you are in basic training, your main goal is to make it to basic training. You did not go through all that for no reason. So they limit all of the contact with family and everything for your own benefit. Because when you're in basic training, you still go through things. You find out things that happen back at home, but you still have to get through it. However, when you get those ladders, you got to look at the little things. When you do, after you get through all your training and you go home and you go on leave, or you do the recruiters assistance program, or even when you're operational and you got get your leave day, those are the times you make up for the times that you miss. Those are the times you take your break. But the way that I see it is, even though the military is different, everywhere you go, you're going to have rules. Everywhere you go, there's going to be structure. Everywhere you go, you can't do whatever you want to do. So for me, I was like, I love the military because there's structure. And when it comes to being in basic training and your religious well, for Air Force we call it military training instructor. They have to do everything they can to abide by your religious purposes. So they do have to try. I don't know if they had 7 day Adventist services when I was going through basic, because like I said, I didn't grow up in 7 day Adventist. I was Baptist. So, however, if they do have them, they do have to do whatever they can to honor your religious preferences. So it's not a end all be all. But all that to say, you definitely have to keep God at the forefront because if you don't, in my opinion, you definitely have a more difficult time because the military definitely 100% chew you up and spit you out if you don't use God's strength to help you get through it.
So for myself, I didn't have a particular verse that kept me going, but what really did help was the fellowship when I was able to go and worship with other Christian folk. Um, the the days are long, but the weeks are short. And so what I mean when I say that is you're doing a lot throughout the day. You know, you're doing a lot of PT, a lot of training, a lot of classes. You wake up early, go to bed late. Um, and it's not always because they bring you to bed late. It's because sometimes uh, in the division or like in the room that you're sleeping in, you know, you have people who are getting into scuffles. You have people who are talking. You have people who are being loud. You have people who are laughing. You know, you're gonna have that one person, you know, yelling, yeah, "Hey, you gotta go to sleep." You know, we gotta wake up early in the morning, and you're gonna have someone respond in a particular manner, and that will keep you up. You know, but one thing that I always look forward to was Friday evenings and Friday nights when I was able to go to my services, to fellowship with other people, you know, to sing, to worship, and to just get away from the organized chaos of boot camp. Um, I joined very late. I joined when I was 24. Um, Sometimes I wish that I joined earlier, but at the same time, just as Ashley said, you know, God does have a plan, and I appreciate the experience that I had before I joined the military. There was a sense of responsibility, like personal responsibility that you bring with you when you have experience before you join. Because yes, the military is going to mold you. Yes, the military is going to influence you in a way. But when you bring experience from outside, it's a lot easier, at least from my opinion, to keep the things that you were trained and brought up as a child. Um, I do believe that there is merit in joining right out of high school. I would definitely say that joining right out of high school, if you are going to focus on your career, it would help you out a lot. It like it's easier for you to grasp the information, to keep the information, and to also train other people and help other people who are coming in after you. Most definitely. There's a lot of people who are my rank and above who are younger than me, and they are very knowledgeable in their job. And I appreciate their expertise in helping me learn my job as well. Um, but I would say that the fellowship most definitely is really what helped me out personally. I read my Bible throughout boot camp. I read a lot of the New Testament. That helps me out a lot. But it was really the connection with people that helps me out a ton.
Now, do y'all have any questions out there for one of the members up here? Anybody? I ain't gonna call you out, Owen. No question. All right, Caleb. So we do have, yes, ma'am.
I would say, first of all, like I said before, stay grounded in God. That's number one. Two, what I believe that hinders people a lot that's within their control is themselves. Coming, and I noticed that myself being a tech school instructor, having students who even after BMT still sometimes have that know-it-all attitude. I'm gonna let it be known right now. You come into my classroom with a I know it all attitude is going to be a problem, even after basic training. Because one thing that I have learned in the military is you must have an open mind and an open heart. You must be willing to learn. It don't matter how old you are, how young you are, because there's always something new that somebody else didn't know. So coming in with the ain't nobody gonna yell at me and ain't nobody gonna do this to me. If that's all you worried about instead of making it to the end, I can assure that I've seen a lot of people lose their opportunity simply because of that kind of attitude. Being arrogant and thinking to come into a structured environment like the military and still thinking that arrogance is going to help anybody get that far is not going to help anybody. You have to be open-minded. You got to learn how to work with people, even people you don't like Elder Taylor mentioned, because at the end of the day, you're there for a purpose, and your purpose is to graduate basic training so that you can move on with your life, so you can learn your job and then, use the skills that you learned once you get to your first duty station. So I would say be humble as best as you can, but like I said, keep God first and just go in with an open mind and an open heart, and also be realistic. I get it's difficult to be apart from family. I get it. I get it, especially if you have kids, you marry. I get all of that. But there has to be you got to be realistic about that. You will not be able to talk to them every day because, like I said, I know it sounds bad, but it is a distraction. It is. It definitely is a distraction. So you got to be able to have that fellowship with your fellow trainees, as you would call it, because all of y'all are going through it. All of y'all are. So with all of that being said, you got to be realistic. You're not going to be able to, like I see some gentlemen out in the crowd, when you get to basic training, you will be bald. You will be. They're going to cut off all your hair and your face will be bald. For the females, if you like wearing makeup and jewelry and stuff like that, you're not wearing it in basic. It is what it is. Everybody look alike. That's just, it is what it is, but it's a bigger purpose. For me, I can take not wearing makeup and some jewelry for a few weeks so I can get a good start on life. I joined the military. I had college. I've been able to get my education while I'm in the military. I just got my master's back in April, and I've done all of the, and free. The only degree that I had student loans was the associates I got before I joined. But all the degrees that I've got and certifications that I've got since I've been in, free. So if I gotta not wear makeup and some lashes and some jewelry for a few weeks so I can get free education, then that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So sometimes you gotta sacrifice so that you can get the blessings that the Lord wants you to have. And hair grows back. It may not grow back like you want it to, but hair grows back, and your facial hair grows back too. And hey, you do a few years in the military, you get out, and if you want to grow your locks back, you definitely can. But all that to say, you definitely got to come in grounded in God as much as possible, and you definitely have to come in with the open mind, open heart, and being realistic. You definitely have to do all of those things.
Yes, and I echo that. You just have, like she said, a teachable spirit. It's okay to be confident. Confident. That's one thing. Arrogant is totally a different other. And so, and don't volunteer for anything.
Please don't.
So, and it's good if you were deciding, or somebody deciding to join the military. I had a great recruiter. Not all recruiters are created equally. Now they some of them trying to meet a quota. But if you got a great recruiter, also reach out to somebody that you know who have served, and they can tell you. Some is gonna tell you good experiences, some gonna tell you bad. I'm gonna tell you the truth. It's good, bad, and indifferent. But it's gonna be your mindset going into it. You gonna make it what it's gonna be. You, like you said, with the help of the Lord. Foundation is everything. When your parents have groomed you and instructed you in the way that you should go, when you leave their house, you're going to carry yourself in a certain way. At least we hope you do. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for that to click. And I noticed that with my son was telling me he went off to his first year of college, and say it was hard to find a parking space there at South, but he said, man, they just party all the time. He was not a party goer. By the end of that first semester, parking was available because people partied their way out of school. They didn't take that foundation of training, and sometimes it takes a while to click. And so maybe by 26, 27, 24, oh, I got to get my life together. I got to start doing something. It's not bad, but if you get it earlier, then you like she said earlier, you build on it. We build on this thing. And then know who you represent when you leave the house. Not only do you represent your mother and father, but you represent the Most High. And if you carry that in your mind, you're going to do great things because He wants great things for you. It just, are you going to be focused enough to give Him His time? See, we so self-righteous that we don't, how can I put it? You got 24 hours in a day. Are you going to start out and give the Lord what's His? Or are you going to, oh, I got to do this, this, and this? Even in basic, you got time to pray. So make that time count. But we, even when we don't have that structure, we get up and we just go on about our ways. We don't let the Lord know He's first in our lives. We got to do that every day. And all the time, it says, pray without ceasing. You don't have to be in the prayer posture to pray. Amen. So, all I'm saying is, let God lead. Let Him govern in your life. And when you do that, I'm not saying things are going to be easy, but you're going to handle it different. You know, I had a whole lot of things different now that I'm older than I did when I was younger. Because when you're young, you don't think straight. At least I didn't think straight. Not all the time. Even though I had a foundation of God, but self get in the way. And I'm going to move to a different question because I could talk all day sometimes.
I actually wanted to add on to the question. I want to piggyback off of what Ashley said and also what you said, Mr. Fabin. But mindset and attitude is everything. A lot of people get hamstrung because of their mindset and their attitude. A lot of people, at least that I've talked to, like some friends who I talked to about being in the military, going through boot camp, you know, they're like, oh, you know, it's hard. There's a lot of physical stuff. The workouts, that's the easy part.
Tell it.
It's the easy part. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I went into boot camp, I was out of shape. I didn't work out. I didn't like to. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't my thing. But the mindset and getting over like, oh, this is hard. I don't like this. I don't want to be here. I miss my mom. I miss my dad. I miss my sister. That was the hard part. You know, like being like, you know, I'm tired of this man like screaming in my face. You know, I'm grown. Like, why am I letting myself go through this and all stuff or whatever? Like, that is the hard part. You know. And even after boot camp, you know, where I'll be in situations where someone's telling me something, and I know that person is wrong, but depending on the situation, you either have to politic your way into letting them know that they're wrong, or just saying, yes, sir, understood, you know, and just do it anyways, even when you think it's dumb. Yeah, like getting over self, being humble, and staying focused. That is really the important part. 100%.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, yeah, definitely learning how to be humble, because the military will humble you. Yeah, people will humble you and call you out on your, you know, on your stuff. So definitely being humble is one, and you know, and you can stand up for what you believe in, but you just have to do it in a professional way. Um, if that makes sense. So you just can't be all, you know.
Can't be yourself before the military. You know that self, but trying to do all that,
Yeah.
they ain't cutting.
Yeah. So you can be professional and still state your issues that you have to your different leadership. But yes, most definitely stand up for your stuff and stand up for what you believe in. Just do it in a military, no, in a professional manner.
Now I'll put it back out there again. Any questions you got for the panel here? Young folk, old folk. You got one on. That's a good one. I wasn't in a different country, so I'll let them speak to that.
Well, when you're in a different country, you're saying is like, say somebody is from, okay, you said like Spain.
So you in Germany.
Germany. Uh-huh. Oh, gotcha. I mean, usually, like for us when we were in Germany, you have a group. Um, so as far as in the military, you know, being overseas, you have a group. As far as a language barrier, I mean, usually you'll have somebody that will be able to translate if somebody doesn't is not fluent with that language. You usually have somebody there that can translate it, but that's from my understanding how it was for us. If we had somebody that was a different language, they usually have somebody that can translate stuff for them while overseas. You got anything to add?
Depending on where the individual is. So, for example, when I was in Germany, there was a recruiting office on base where I was stationed at. However, you need, military access. For example, you got the United States Air Force, but other countries also have their own Air Force as well. So if you have, a Seventh-day Adventist that's from a different country, they can go see about joining the military of the country that they reside in. If they're able to get military access, they could try to go talk to a recruiter that's on that base. It just depends on where you're at. But oh, you mean worship, or you talking about joining? Oh, worship. So when I was deployed to Kuwait, they didn't have any Seventh-day Adventist services on base. So I had to do a lot of prayer. I would watch the Hope Sabbath School every Sabbath. I would call him. I did get accommodations, so you can get accommodations. You do have to prove that you are part of that denomination. But I got accommodations so that I could have the day off, because we were working 7 days a week. So I got an accommodation to have the Sabbath off. I haven't experienced the language barrier situation, because if you are on a base, especially if you're deployed, that's where you at. So you 9 times out of 10 are not attending a service outside of that base where you deployed. Now, if you are not deployed, different bases have different services. Like, it was an Army base in Germany that had a Sabbath day service, but it wasn't on the base that I was stationed at. It was on the Army base that was downtown from the area that we lived in. So you just have to talk to the chaplains, and the chaplains can help you figure out what services they have and how they can make sure you honor your religious preferences. But you do have to find your chaplain, though. You do have to do that. And somebody else had a question.
don't want to tell you my age. that was in the early 70s. But they had a large military community there, and they had everything, almost anything you could think of there, as far as being back in the States. Yeah.
Sims?
6 years, 8 years, or do you just, as you go along, you decide if you want to continue on?
So going in career field, so some are 4 years. Just depends on the job. So like you know, it was 4 years. So some may have a 6 years. Sometimes it's 20 bonus. So if you get a bonus, they want the extra time. They're giving you, if bonus, yeah, you have possibly have to do more years, and that goes with your ongoing career. But yeah, really.
Yeah,
And
sorry.
so,
And to add on to that, yes, very job dependent. But when it comes to the bonuses, because I have a 6-year contract starting out, it really depends on timing. Like, really depends on timing. So when I joined, I got a bonus. I think it was like around $12,000 or $9,000, right? But by the time I had reached my A school after boot camp, there were people coming in who were getting like $40,000, $60,000, $30,000 bonuses. So, and then there are people who came before me, they ain't got nothing. Nothing. Still, and for each and every one of us, it's the same 6-year contract.
so that explains why people stay in for 30 years. It's the incentives.
I would say yes. However, the Air Force. So in the Air Force, you do 4 or 6 years. Of course, when you re-enlist, so re-enlistment pretty much means that you gonna sign up to do another 4 or 6 years or whatever the case may be. If you receive a bonus, in that case, you do have to meet that commitment, because if something happens and you are not able to meet that commitment, then you owe the military that money back. So, for example, pilots, they have like at least a 12-year commitment to the Air Force, because the Air Force pays a lot of money for them. So they have to be in the Air Force and meet that first 12-year commitment. They have to. So for the Air Force, at least, it does depend on job. It does depend on bonuses. But for the most part, the Air Force does 4 or 6 year contracts, because some may do 2 years, some branches may do 3. But for the Air Force, at a minimum, you're going to do 4 years. And as far as the incentives, because I've been in 9, I did my first re-enlistment, 100% is the incentives, 100%. I haven't received a bonus. However, I know I got a paycheck coming in. I know, the different opportunities that I get for schooling, for training that can help me if I choose to get out. So most definitely the opportunities to live places that you never got to live. Like my first duty station was Germany. Like I got to live in a whole nother country, met my husband in a whole nother country. So the incentives to me are definitely worth it. But everybody got their own opinion about that. But for me, 100%.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Yeah. I know your name. Alana. Alana. Okay, Alana, what's your question? Isabel, you like I ain't know your name. Sister Sherry. See how she gave that polite. All right. Isaiah. Got a question? All right. So we'll move along. Now, tell me what will be one of your things where you just know God was in the mix. That God, it was nobody but God.
God when I was in Afghanistan that brought me through it. They actually experienced being motored on a base. That was one of the scariest experience I ever dealt with in my life. So, I just know God was through that whole. That was what I have.
I would say for me, when I was deployed, we got married and then I deployed a few weeks after. I was gone for 6 months. The Army, he was in the Army at the time. So we both were in the military when this happened. They were trying to send him to the field, and he would be gone when I came back. So, I was struggling mentally, physically, everything. But we prayed about it, and his first sergeant at the time called. I can't remember exactly how everything panned out. Maybe he can tell the story better than I can. But he ended up not having to go. But his supervisor at the time was still going to make him do something, not get him leave for the time that I was back. Which, first of all, his supervisor wasn't in a position to deny leave, but that's a whole nother story for another day. But his first sergeant caught wind of that and was like, no, he's going on leave. So God worked all of that out, because whenever you deploy, you come back, you get what you call R&R. It's like 14 days or 2 weeks where you don't have to go to work because you're resting and recuperating from deployment. And those leave days don't count against you or anything like that. But he was able to take his leave, and so we were able to, spend that time together and catch up for me being gone for 6 months. But that was definitely nobody but God, because the timing and everything that happened and the way it all worked out, that was definitely nobody but God 100%.
For me, it was when I was in A school right after boot camp, when my daughter was about to be born. I had, I remember this very vividly. I was hanging out over at the grill with some friends, just chilling. My friend was grilling some stuff or whatever, and my wife had called me, and she told me that her water broke. Now, I was in Chicago at the time. I knew that the time was soon, but I thought it was going to be like a few weeks in advance, and I froze and I freaked out because I had no idea what I was doing. I went, talked to my chief, and he looked at me. He said, "Holmes, what are you doing standing here? Go pack your bags. Go get a plane ticket. You're leaving today." And I was in New York that evening. Yeah. As well as at the time, I didn't know it at the time, but the individual who was not routing my leave, but routing my PCS for me to come here to Mississippi, he had messed up my orders. So I was actually about to be counted as UA. And I don't know if you guys know what UA is, but I could get an NJP, or court martial. Yeah, around there. Because it's an excused absence, and that would have gotten me in a lot of trouble. Potentially kicked out of the Navy, actually, since I was like so brand spanking new. Still had the tag on me and everything. So my chief, thank God, was able to not only fix the problem with my leave, but gave me 2 extra weeks of baby leave with my daughter and my wife.
Now, is the military for everybody?
Well, of course, military is not for everybody. It's just not for everybody. And that's okay if it's not for you. That's definitely okay. I think the military is good, but just point blank period is not for everybody. It could be medical reasons. It could be, it's mental reasons. I don't know, but yeah, it's just not for everybody. Especially the ones that say, "I'm not gonna let a drill sergeant yell at me," or "I'm not gonna let a drill sergeant get in my face." A drill sergeant not gonna talk to me like that. Okay, well, yeah, it's definitely not for you then, because they will be in your face. Oh yeah, most definitely, and they will humble you if you do come in as well.
And just to add to that, it's to teach you how to be disciplined. So my whole thing is, if somebody can't take being yelled at and somebody get in your face, they ain't gonna hit you. But it is a tactic that they use. If that's what's gonna keep somebody from joining, like Josh said, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. It's not that serious. And after some time, they still yell at you, but they start to yell at you less. But if that's what's holding somebody back, is the small like that, then yes, the military is not for them. It's things that are outside of people's control, like medical stuff. But it's another thing when it's the minuscule things, like somebody getting in your face yelling at you, or I don't want to take out my persons, or I don't, cutting hair. I understand that. I ain't even gonna lie, I understand that 100%. I ain't had to go through that as a female, but that part I do understand. But the other things, like I don't want to go a day without makeup and all that stuff, it's like, yeah, it ain't for you then. Because you got to be able to make those sacrifices, to get to the end goal.
Personally, I think that the military is a good experience for many people. I do agree that with certain medical and mental conditions or issues that some people may have, that it's probably not the best choice. Or even like, for example, like with single parents being away from their kids for an extended period of time and not really having a lot of options for childcare while they're in boot camp or while they're on deployment and stuff. It could be very difficult, and it will hinder you in your job because you're going to be constantly worrying about your child. But I am a strong believer that at least doing one contract is a good learning experience for a lot of people, most definitely. There's a lot of things that are constant in the military, but nothing is forever. You're never going to work with the same people all the time. You're not going to work in the same conditions all the time. You're going to wear the same uniform. You have to be at the right place at the right time. And honestly, when you have those three things, you'll be all right.
I like that part where, in every 2 to 3 years, leadership gonna change. So if you don't like that leadership, like, oh, just give it time. You don't like your assignment, just give it time. And so that's one thing I do like. And like I said, starting off, begin with the end in mind. I knew, hey, I was going to make a career out of the Air Force. I knew I was going to do 20 years. And I knew I was going to do 23. Yeah, I said I was going to do 24. But COVID hit and I got tired. Yes, ma'am. Well, you're going to have to meet requirements. So first, you're going to start off with your first 4 years. Now, if you are successful, don't raise no eyebrows, don't get in no trouble, you may have the opportunity to re-up or re-enlist for another 4 to 6 years. That may come with a bonus, may not. And then if you keep your nose clean, you stay out of trouble, you have another opportunity to re-up again. Thing I like about, I know getting off sidetrack a little bit, but bonuses is if you hit, like you said, you hit it right, you get one of them ones that they offering like for $60,000, and you do a 6-year commitment. Ooh, looking good for a little bit. But it's all about staying focused and knowing what you want to do. Now, in that time period, say you're a young man or young woman, you start out you're good. I decide I want to re-up. I'm going to re-up. Okay. Then, now you're in that second enlistment. What happens usually in that second enlistment, sometimes you start to take on family. That makes it a little bit more challenging. Or it makes you more determined to stay focused. Hey, now I got an additional mouth to feed. Now I have to make sure I make this a career. So I'm going to take on for another 4 to 6. It's all depending on you and how well you stay out of trouble. Because sometimes trouble finds people. Like he was saying, he ain't do nothing wrong. His orders got messed up by somebody else, but it was going to impact him. And so just God has got to be in the equation. Yes. And that's a, yeah. And that's one advantage the military do have. You have a sense of family. And it's even better overseas because you can't go anywhere. You are actually stuck with them. And they make everything so easy is not the best word to use. Available for you. It's available for you to be able to use. I mean, if you got a program for your kids, they have that. Program for you if you want to do better and go to school, they have that. Like she said, you have options. And take advantage of other options that they provide for you because they are taking advantage of you. So don't be afraid to, if you're on the fence about going to the military, do your research. Look into it. I came in with a guaranteed job. I knew what I was going to be doing. My ABAP scores was pretty good. I had I had opportunities to be personnel, radiology, med tech, or surgical tech. And I asked about, hey, I wasn't interested in personnel, which I probably should have, because personnel it's the foothold to everything now. If you know personnel, you're pretty good. Yes, ma'am. And so, but I was like, I wanted to be in the medical field. And he said, I asked, what's the difference between the med tech and the surgical? He said, the med tech going to give you the shots. They're going to give you shots and you're going to be there. So the surgical tech, you're going to be in the operating room with the doctor. I said, oh, sign me up. I want to be in the operating room with the doctor. Because I want to help people, and I want to be able to help them in all different ways. Not only just by talking to them or fixing their bodies when they come back all mangled and stuff like that, but it's just, I can't tell you how much joy you get from when you see someone when they come in to when you see them when they leave better. I mean, when you had a part in that brought me great joy. But I got all sidetracked. Being in the military is wonderful if you chose to go that route. Again, stay focused, make sure you put God first, and it's okay to leave the home. You can't grow in your comfort zone. And once you get outside the home, that's when you start to grow. And you start to depend on Jesus. And when you do that, he's going to take care of you. It just sometimes we are scared. I'm sure all of us was a little nervous when we got off that bus. And they was like, oh, get over here, get over here, get over here. Pick him up, put him down. And you thinking you making the right decision by picking him up, putting him down, you start to questioning, what did I do? What did I do? It's like, oh. But I tell you, to begin with the end in mind. For me, it was only going to be 6 weeks. I could do anything for 6 weeks. And I learned how to do it for a couple of years, 23 years. Now, did I make all the right choices? No. But God was there to help me when I did go away. And just like he's here to help you today. And I will answer your question before we got, because we got like 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Wanted to know, I know you have to do basic training and go through that first. So do you have to make it through basic training in order to get a check? Or when does the payment start?
You money hungry.
Well, no.
That's a good question. Good question. I can remember. Go ahead.
So when you're in basic training, you get paid immediately, right? But you don't see the money until after basic. And on top of that, I don't know if it happened for y'all, but I know I had to pay for my uniforms, pay for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you pay it back.
Yeah, so they'll be like, oh yeah, here's your money. Now you owe us for this, and this, and this, so yeah.
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 Well, they take, the government gonna take what the government takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real quick, so for me, I remember getting paid while I was in basic. How you got access to the money is different, because like if you carry cash, you have to document the cash that you carry. So they gave us some card, I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, the what you call it, the Eagle cash card. So your money was on that card, because you still had to buy your own essentials and stuff like that. But some people didn't get paid till after, because something was going on with their money. So it just depends. But I remember getting paid while I was going through basic. You're welcome.
Well, we thank you guys for coming out and being a part, listening to the panel, and hopefully you learned something today. I know one thing you did learn. You got to take God with you everywhere you go. you got to stay focused. And we will close out here with prayer. We'll have Brother Roger give us closing prayer, and then we'll be good to go.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this fellowship. Thank you for this experience, Lord. Thank you for bringing all these wonderful people here to worship and fellowship, Lord. Thank you for all that you've done for us. Please help us, bless us, and guide us. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen.